if you're not aware, it's been announced SSAC and PSISTORM are running a show match featuring some of the players who are, I guess, kind of like not so much regulars, but prominent faces in the SSAC scene, as well as some PSISTORM players. SSAC is a really cool organization. I have to look up the acronym directly. I can't remember what the acronym stands for off the top of my head. The Sea StarCraft Action Committee, all right? They just finished running the Sea Open Team League not that long ago. I guess it's like a month ago now. It was a really cool tournament that featured some really different teams that you wouldn't maybe expect to hear. If you guys have been following me for any length of time at all, you know I'm a big fan of region locking. I'm a big fan of casting the spotlight on smaller scenes and giving them exposure where you can, rather. And I think that SSAC does a lot to kind of fulfill that in their region. So right now we're gonna pull on PSISTORM's Pengwin, pretty cool human being, and Angela from SSAC. We're gonna get them in on the Discord, and we're gonna have a little chat about this show match series. Okay, we're gonna start the call right now. So Angela, you've been linking some stuff in Twitch chat. Before we really dig in, or actually maybe we should just dig in to the show match that's been planned. I'm gonna bring up the graphic on stream, but why don't you guys talk a little bit about how this kind of came to be?
Hello?
Hello?
I'm gonna defer on this one.
Okay, I'll tell you why Stefan has to defer on this one, because when I was talking to him just now, I realized that when KJ passed the project to him, he actually didn't tell Stefan anything at all.
Oh, rip.
Okay, so this is an interesting story. For some reason, I think KJ realized that I'm involved in the Southeast Asian scene. I'm, one of the founding members of the SSAC, which is actually a very young organization. And I also sort of am interested in the scene in China, the Chinese scene. So I think he probably saw my Twitter, and we talked a couple of times. And one day he just DM'd me and said, "Hey, I know that you're involved in the sea and Chinese scenes. I'd like to support, these scenes. So how about if we did a show match between PSISTORM and you pick your, dream team players?"
Nice.
Yeah, literally, and then we can talk about it. And I was like, wow, is this real? Like, is this happening? So he literally gave me free reign.
Nice.
He asked me, he asked me, what do you think the format of the show match ought to be? What kind of incentive do you think we should give the players? So I suggested to keep it simple, sort of just to give maybe like $20 per map win. I mean, it's just a simple show match, but when we discussed it, it sort of worked. And then after that, I think that's when he was like, okay, now that we have talked about this stuff, I'm going to hand you over to Stefan. and then that's it. That's how Stefan came into the picture.
Nice. So there's a pretty, it's like, there are definitely names here that like everyone should recognize. But then there are also names on both sides that are perhaps less recognizable. So I thought maybe we could go down through the matchups, and both of you could talk up your side and say, why you think you're the best region, or the best team, rather. Sound good?
Sure.
Nice.
Yeah, sure. But actually, there's a little bit more behind the setting up of the Asia team.
Go for it.
Yeah, okay. So what happened is that I could approach the Southeast Asian players, right, which is the last three players you see, the Stork, Strike, and Justice Simon. What the players that were more difficult to get were the Chinese players from China, because you see, I thought it would be easy, right, to get some players from China because I'm Chinese. I'm based in Singapore and I can speak Chinese. But when I approached them, basically what's happened is that they don't want to play on servers that are not the KR server, because within China they have their own SC2 server, and in order to play on servers outside of China, they will have to VPN out.
Ah, I see.
Yes, and the lag is crazy, and so the only server they will agree to play on is KR, and I mean PSISTORM is based in NA, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, the only server really I think that the PSISTORM players wanted to play on is NA West. Yeah, I mean that's the closest. So basically what you're seeing here are Chinese players that are currently living in Korea.
Oh.
They are not. Yes, I could only get the Chinese players living in Korea to agree to play this show match. That was when I started to realize why such show matches probably haven't been successful before or haven't been held before.
That's actually a really interesting point. I didn't even connect the dots there with Time, Jim, and Rush Crazy being... They're all in the Base Trade TV house right now, if I'm correct, right?
Nope.
No?
Time is in the Base Trade TV house. Jim and Rush Crazy are in the Lei Feng
Oh,
house.
yes, that's right. That's what it is. Right.
Yes. So there are actually Chinese players that, have sort of literally, set up their own team house in Korea to practice. And I find that really, really exciting.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome.
So, so that's the backstory behind the China players.
That's really cool. That's really interesting. So, True versus Time. I won't claim... I gotta claim some ignorance on Time. Who do you guys... I mean, obviously, I guess, Penguin, you'll be repping PSISTORM the whole time, biased caster that you are.
Man, Time is a based god, though, dude.
What's
How do you not know about Time's based god?
What should I know him from? I honestly, I don't remember him.
Wrecking everybody, man. Like,
Time.
clearly the best Chinese player right now. In the base trade map test tournament, he beat TY 3-1, he beat Kelazor 4-1, he took 3 maps off stats. Like, 4 days before that, he beat stats 2-1. Like, he beat Sue earlier this year 2-0, he beat Hush. He's really good, fam.
Oh, I'll believe it. I'll believe it. What do you think, like, how's True's ZVT been lately? Are there any signs of weakness?
I mean, Time is really good, but True's gonna win.
Oh, come on. Okay, this is where I step in and then we start the trash talking, right?
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Well, I suppose I have to admit that, frankly speaking, Time was a substitute for Todd Ming.
Ooh.
Oh dear.
Time is better, though. This is gonna be much more fun now.
You think Time is better? Seriously,
Yeah.
Stefan?
Time is the best Chinese player.
Oh my god! Wow, that's really something. I've got to tell him that. Okay, Time is actually he's really young. He's only 16 years old.
Wow.
Which is something else
Really?
that I find really exciting. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, because we need new blood in the scene. I mean, even in the China scene, and the Chinese StarCraft 2 scene actually does have some money going for it. It's sort of an entity on its own, but there is money in that scene. But it's also sort of not as popular as other esports in China, and so they are also suffering this renewal issue that we are seeing in the foreign scene. So someone like Time is also exciting to us, and Time came onto the scene. It's here on the Wikipedia, on his Wikipedia page actually. He was the youngest Chinese player to reach GM on the Korean server, and that happened when he was 14 years old.
Wow.
Yep.
So we might be looking at, like, the next Maru lifestyle prodigy, possibly.
Exactly.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
He's the best little kid since Raynor.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, that's a good one.
Nice.
I would say yes, and he's definitely a part of the new generation of SC2 stars that they're trying to groom from China. So I'm
That's
excited for Time. I really am.
I know
They
I
will give. Hmm?
I know Twitter's banned in China, right? But Time needs to make a Twitter while he's not in China so I can follow him on Twitter, please. I need for that to happen
Oh.
now.
Hmm.
That's really cool.
Maybe I can
Actually,
suggest that.
I didn't know anything at all about Time, to be honest. This is I'm like super hyped for this match now. That's crazy. So let's what
Thanks. Yeah, thanks so much for having us on this show, by the way,
Oh, of course. I mean, it's good for me
and
too.
your show as well, because you're letting us hype up this show match, giving us a chance to do it. Thanks a lot, Zion. We appreciate it.
Hey, no problem. I'm excited for this show match. So let's drop down. Let's look at Jon Snow versus Jim. Jim, the Chinese Protoss, has been like a name in the StarCraft 2 scene for a number of years now, since like 2014. Was the 2014 WCS America the first major showing for Jim, if I remember correctly? I think so. But also Jon Snow has been really establishing himself, like particularly as of late, it seems. He's always been a name, he's always been a house in the same kind of time frame. But it seems like Jon Snow has been tapping into a well of potential lately. I don't know how Jim has been playing recently. What do you guys expect for this match?
Jim is like, you can never tell how Jim is gonna play because like Jim on a good day is like insane, and then Jim on a bad day is like a Diamond League player. Like I think he is like the one person who I think has form swings more than anybody else. Like it's ridiculous how different his level of play is when he's on and when he's not. So I think that's going to be what it comes down to a certain extent. Jon Snow, of course, is like absolute god mode right now as well. Like,
Yeah. I have to
even
admit
in
that Jon Snow is so good right now.
yeah, like even in ZVP, which he generally doesn't like as much, like he still took 2 maps off Pili Pili in WCS. He still qualified, and like he's also very good. I mean, this one as well. Like it's on Newkirk, which is like a really balanced map as well. So I think this one will be really interesting. A lot of it's probably going to come down to how well Jim plays, but it's going to be really fun.
What?
Yeah, I mean,
Sorry, go ahead.
no, I mean Jim's a veteran player, right? I mean, he started in about 2011, and he's played in so many tournaments. I mean, to be frank, he's sort of quietened down a lot lately. So we're not exactly sure what his form is like. But I think it's the fact that he's out of China and living in Korea. The fact that he's actually training in Korea, shows some kind of commitment to improving his game. And yeah, I think it's going to be a good match.
So, Penguin, you mentioned that Jon Snow isn't digging ZVP right now. Can you tell us why at all?
Well, that's mostly because he plays Zerg.
What specifically, though?
Honestly, ZVP is really stupid right now. Like, I don't struggle with it that much, but I don't know very many high-level Zerg players that are like, oh, ZVP's fun. Like, I don't know, man. Like, Adepts are really good. Carriers are really good. It's not a fun time to be Zerg, but Jon Snow does pretty well in it. Like, he's really good at defending stuff, so I didn't say that he was not digging ZVP specifically. Like, he's pretty fine in all matchups.
Fair enough. I misunderstood. All right. And then dropping down again, we've got Pili and Rush Crazy. Rush Crazy is a player who I don't feel bad saying that I don't really know too much about, because I just looked it up on my phone. All right, his team or his Wikipedia page is pretty sparse there. So, Angela, why don't you tell us a little bit about Rush Crazy first to lead us into this PvP matchup?
To tell you the absolute truth, even I'm not so familiar with Rush Crazy. I requested for him to be added to the show match because I discovered that he was living in the Latham team house. I mean, that is just the truth of it. I do know that he is not a top tier Chinese player. He is in Victor's Gaming's Academy squad. And he's 24 years old, he just informed me just now. Um, he can speak some English, so it might be interesting um, to talk to him if you want to.
Is he online right
Other
now?
than that, he was online just 10 minutes ago, so I don't know.
If he wanted to come
Uh,
on, he's welcome. Just saying.
Maybe I'll text him to ask. Yeah. Where was I? Rush Crazy. Oh, but I did get recommendations, because when I was sort of forming this team, I asked around. One of the interesting things that KJ told me at the time was you might want to highlight players who may not be the most famous players, in your scene, but whom you feel are deserving, of being sort of brought to the limelight, which I thought was a really, really nice sort of thing to say. So Rush Crazy is sort of like something, somebody, I hope that fulfills that particular criteria. So
He's pretty decent. Like, I think of the 3 Chinese players, he's probably the weakest, but he's like capable of doing well in PvP. Like, he has about a 45% win rate against both Cloudy and Maxed in tournaments. He's taken out Jim once or twice. He's beaten Jishi once or twice. Like, he's not a bad player by any means, and PvP is Pili's worst matchup, which is why we tried to set up the matches so they'd be like, all the matches should be matches that can go either way. And
yes, we did.
So
in the interest of fair play and a good show match, we really did our best.
Yeah, and I think Rush Crazy is like definitely the underdog in the series, but he's not bad in PvP. Like, his PvP is pretty solid.
How's Pili been post IEM? I know, like, on Twitter and stuff, he seems to be a player who's often affected by some dips in mentality, if you will. His IEM experience must kind of bolster that and reassure him to a point, right?
Well,
like, he must be on a high,
in
right?
a challenger.
Yes, I forgot about that too. Yeah, like, he must be riding some kind of a mental high note, right?
Pili is really good. I don't think he actually struggles with mentality at all.
Okay.
He's got a really good mentality, and overall, he's just like, he doesn't get stressed out that much because he's not full time, and he's generally, like, he's got a very solid mentality. He's very, very good. He's always been very, very good at abusing things that are not yet figured out / imbalanced. So, for example, he's one of the best players at carriers in PvZ. He's really pretty decent at Phoenix Adept in PvT as well. PvP is one of the matchups that's just like, it's more figured out right now, which is why I think he struggles in it a little bit more than the others.
Cool. So I guess both sides respectively expect theirs to win in this PvP. I don't know if it's worth asking for predictions specifically rather than just background.
6-0 PSISTORM Gaming.
Hey.
Oh, go to hell.
Wow.
No way. No.
The trash talk.
The trash talk coming in. You trying to look down on us?
No, it's just we don't lose games.
Woof. Woof.
Do I really
Damn,
need
son.
to? Do I really need to show you up? That's. Oh! You're going to get so wrecked. No, I mean, I do agree. I mean, the PSISTORM side looks pretty good.
We'll just continue through like the player backgrounds and match analysis rather than asking for predictions. We'll prevent your bias showing. Don't worry about it, guys. So dropping down, we've got Ruff versus Bistork.
We were trying to decide in our call before this. We're not sure.
Okay.
I call him Bistork. I've always called him Bistork.
And I call him Bistork.
Bistork? Oh God! All right. Well, tell us a little bit about Bistork or Bistork or however he may identify himself, Angela.
He's from Hong Kong. He's actually living in Hong Kong. And he usually plays in Chinese tournaments. And he's pretty good. He also we are familiar with him in the Southeast Asian scene because he played in our SOTL, the Southeast Asian Open Team League, and in a lot of the Southeast Asian tournaments that we have. So he's a familiar face to us, and he can play outside of China because Hong Kong is technically, at least internet-wise, not behind the Great Firewall of China. You know what I mean?
Nice.
Yeah, so we get to see him, even though he sort of considers himself, I think, a Chinese player. And he's pretty good. He's good. Like, I think you'll be surprised. I think Stefan, in fact, I wouldn't say I think, he's going to beat Ruff. He is going to beat Ruff.
He's better than Ruff, but Ruff builds, you can never count out Ruff builds. Ruff beats really good people just because of Ruff builds.
I.e. he's going to just do a dirty, cheesy all-in. Like that.
Didn't say that. Like, Ruff builds are not always cheesy. Like, Ruff builds are just weird.
Okay.
This is also on... oh, holy crap, I forget the name of the map. What's the name of the map?
Paladino.
Paladino, yes, this is also on Paladino.
All I can say is that I guarantee you, unless PSISTORM ladders on NA, which I'm pretty sure he doesn't, he will never have seen whichever build Ruff does.
That's a solid point. Okay, for a little bit of this is actually relevant. So PSISTORM actually came second in the WCS. Yeah, and he lost to Haas. So perhaps now he's prepared for ridiculous tournament build shenanigans.
Haas doesn't really play weird in PvP though.
Doesn't he?
He plays weird in every matchup.
Yeah, but I mean, Haas in PvP is just like the same as any other weird player in PvP, whereas Haas in PvT and PvZ is just like, you're not playing against Protoss, you're playing against Haas.
I guess. I don't know, man. I don't know. I feel like... Go ahead.
No, the other thing is, PSISTORM just qualified for WCS Austin.
Did he actually qualify? Was it first two? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right, nice.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's actually super lit. So this is like cool foretelling. Maybe tune into this and see someone cool who's going to be competing at WCS Austin. That's actually pretty cool. It's actually pretty lit right there. So dropping down again, we have a player who I'm actually Penguin. I'm like super curious about Zergwave. I'm so curious.
Sure.
Because we've got Penguin versus Strike.
Penguin versus Strike?
God damn it. Zergwave versus Strike. Excusez-moi, right? I browse Liquipedia pretty much on the daily for various things. And am I correct in saying that Zergwave is like a football player?
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about Zergwave and his PSISTORM experience and all that stuff, how he plays, anything that you can tell us.
He's really strong ZBT. He regularly beats top NA Terran players, which is kind of why we gave Proxima to Strike, because it's a better Terran map, specifically against like Roach Ravager styles of play, which is what Zergwave prefers. But yeah, Zergwave is he's kind of weird insofar as he always has one matchup that he absolutely sucks at, which is generally versus Protoss, but against Terran right now, he's really, really good. He beats Epic 2-1 in WCS qualifiers recently. He should have beaten Poke Bunny. He lost 1-2 in the same qualifier. Let me check. I'm pretty sure he has another couple of good ZVT wins. Yeah, he beat Cuddle Bear 2-1 in PSISTORM League. Yeah, he's really, really good against Terran right now, so I think he should be favored here. But Strike is also somebody that like Zergwave is going to have trouble preparing for, because like nobody knows Strike at all outside of the region. So it'll be interesting.
Well, Angela, this is like the perfect segue. So tell us about Strike.
Strike is uh he's essentially the best player from Thailand. So when I was doing this show match, I mean when I was preparing for it, I think KJ hinted that if this show match does well, then we might have there might be opportunities to do more along a similar vein. But just in case, I sort of wanted to choose players from sort of different countries. So from Southeast Asia, we have someone from Vietnam, and Strike was my representative from Thailand. Also, Strike is, I think he's in Team Myth from Thailand, and he's actually been showing up in a lot of the OSC tournaments. So he's known, by these people who run the OSC tournament. For example, I don't know if you know this admin called Bloody Rave. When I asked her, yeah. So when I asked her, who are some people you feel in Southeast Asia, who have been sort of plugging away in the scene and perhaps should be better known but are not, Strike's name came up immediately. So I'm kind of happy. Yeah.
Yeah, he's definitely not one of the strongest players in the region, but he does beat good people now and then. So, like, if we talk about Zergs, because he's going to be playing at TVZ, like, he recently 2-0 Jim Rising. He took a map off Winter, took a map off Demilove. Like, he does pretty well, so he's definitely someone worth consideration. And, like, obviously, Shockwave is an academy player, so this could definitely go either way.
I agree. And Strike, I think you're right. He took some maps off these players in the SOTL, right? In the finals of the SOTL. I mean, he was in the teams that made it to sort of like the top 4 in our team league tournament.
Yeah, he beat Punk, who's like never really that good in tournaments, but he's very good on ladder. That's another Zerg player. So, yeah, he does. He's definitely someone to not overlook.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
Liquipedia also says. After you.
Sorry. No.
No, I'm sorry. I keep.
SYF Gaming. Do we have a delay?
No, I keep talking over you a little bit. I'm really sorry about it. It's my bad.
Yeah. So sorry. You were saying you were looking on the.
Yeah, Liquipedia says that he's an ex Command and Conquer 3 pro, which I find really interesting, actually.
Ah.
He got second at WCG 2008 Thailand qualifier for Command and Conquer 3. He was a top 80 ranked player, apparently, in the world. Pretty cool stuff right there. Pretty cool background.
He's been playing a very long time, too.
Yeah, Liquipedia said that he was one of the younger. He started. Let me open the tab again.
14 years old.
Yes.
One of the youngest players in Thailand at 14 years old.
It's pretty cool stuff. So let's talk about the last matchup: Silky versus Justice Simon. Penguin, we'll start with you. Tell us all about Silky's ZVP.
You mean, well, Silky is just absolute like god tier. He got top 8 in WCS America. He lost to Jon Snow. Fun fact: outside of Pili losing in the finals, PSISTORM players in WCS only got knocked out by other PSISTORM players.
Wow.
So if he hadn't played Jon Snow, Silky would have probably just gone all the way. But no, Silky is really good. He's like 6.2 KMR on Korea, like 6.4 on NA. He's just really good. He doesn't like ZVP very much, but he still has like a 57 or 50 something % win rate in ZVP. And like Justice Simon is kind of weird because Justice Simon is like he's probably the person that's the hardest to gauge out of the people in the lineup, outside of obviously Jim just being super form dependent. It's like Justice Simon like doesn't win very often against good people, but every now and then he just wins against people that like on paper he shouldn't. Like he 2-1'd me Micah earlier this year, and like more notably he took a map off Snoot in an IM qualifier, and like Snoot had delay because it was on the Korea server, but like that's still impressive. So it's very hard to judge just how good Justice Simon is. So this will be really interesting. This will be a learning experience for me.
Angelo, perhaps it is not so hard for yourself to judge Justice Simon. Tell us about Justice Simon.
He's definitely one of the best players from the Vietnamese scene.
Mhm.
You know, next to Mio Micah, it's Justice Simon and well, this guy called Hunter. But I mean, he's sort of busy these days, so they're not really playing. But yeah, one of the top 3 players from Vietnam for sure. He's in Team VK, which is Killers, and he is. Well, what can I say? Actually, Penguin did a really good introduction.
Nice.
Right, when he's in form. Yeah, when he's in form, and he can take maps off, I think, almost any player.
Cool.
Yeah. So I'm hyped, you know, for... I had no idea that Soki was that good, you know, Stefan.
Yeah, Silky is really good.
When we were discussing this, perhaps... Is this fair play? Hashtag.
Silky,
I think it's a fair matchup on Cactus Valley with Silky's worst matchup and Justice Simon's best matchup. I think that's fair.
Okay. Oh, is that... Oh, you mean PVZ is Justice Simon's best matchup? Even I didn't.
It should be. Like,
Okay.
on paper it is.
Okay, sounds good. Actually, this is a trivia question, but does Silky get mistaken for the Chinese Silky often?
No, American Silky is way better.
Oh, come on.
No, like, I honestly don't understand how the Chinese Silky wins games. Like, I'm really bad and I never lose to him. Like, it's... I like, every time I see him beat somebody good, I'm really confused. He never makes a lair. Like...
sounds like my kind of player. Oh, man.
He's like... Like, I can't think of anyone to compare him to, because he's not like a No Regret or a Bly who's really cheesy. He just does really bad all-ins. Like, he'll all-in you at, like, 8 minutes 30 with, like, queens and slow roaches and just die.
To be fair, could it be because of the lag? You do know that a lot of... No? No?
No, I played him when I was in Korea, and as well, it's just the same thing. Like...
All right, so what I'm hearing is that we need to have a Penguin Chinese Silky show match now. The call-out's been made.
Find a server to play it on, like... He's in China, man. I'm on East Coast.
Yeah, play on Korean server. Come on.
I'm not gonna play with 400 ping.
Oh, why not? You chicken? You big chicken,
Can you
huh?
hear that whining? Oh my God. Like such excuses, Penguin.
Wow.
Well, why doesn't he play with 400 ping then?
Well,
Excuses.
because he's in China. They can only come on. That's not fair.
Yeah, exactly. And he needs to go through VPN and everything.
Yeah, it wouldn't be fair. All right, guys. Well, so this is scheduled for April 5th, or the 15th of April, or the 16th of April, depending on what time zone you're in. The Team Liquid thread for the event is posted in chat. Definitely encourage everyone to check this out. I'm going to make a point of checking this out for sure. And do you think that this will be not necessarily a regular occurrence, but do you guys foresee potentially more events like this happening between PSISTORM and with the SSAC kind of organization?
Yeah, it'd be cool. I mean, a lot of it also comes down to just how successful the event is, of course. Like, it's
Yeah,
too
of
early
course.
to say.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm definitely game to sort of, you know, put in the work to organize it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if a prize pool is forthcoming.
Yeah, exactly. Like, if there's a prize pool, like, the players are always going to be fine to play.
For sure, yeah. Cool.
In the words of Pilly Pilly, if I have to play on Korea for $23, why not?
Oh, shit.
I like that attitude, actually. Why not? It's true.
I mean,
play.
the trash talk is real.
Okay,
All right, guys.
so
Well,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
do you have any? Do you guys have any final words about this show match in particular?
Not really. Not me personally.
No. Well,
Come watch it. It'll be fun.
Yes, come watch it. It'll be fun. I think it's something that's fairly unique because having been the one to organize sort of the players and so on, I realized that this sort of East versus quasi East versus West at least um, show matches, they probably don't take place that often because of the server issue, right?
Yeah.
So it's rare to see such a show match, and I think for that reason alone, it's fun to watch because you probably wouldn't see these players matched up like this again. So go for it. Go for it.
Nice.
Yep.